Hi y'all, Kraken Latte here. So in this video, I'll go over some super lazy ways to make some gold. I'm not covering certain farm spots or the best whatever of X patch, just little things you can do during your normal playtime. And these can apply to any expansion, any class, any playstyle, so they're fairly low-key. So let's get into it. Tip number 7. Always loot. Always loot mobs, no exceptions. Not only do gray items add up, you can find materials, rare items, BOEs, pets, and other goods. Think of each body as a loot box. You never know what's inside. Tip number 6. Gathering professions on alts. Put enchanting and a gathering profession on all your alts. Any character you play will come across old BOP gear that doesn't vendor for much, so disenchant it. Even old materials could be worth something. And what about all those times you found anchorweed and couldn't pick it just because you're on a neglected alt? That poor, poor anchorweed. All it wanted was to make someone happy. Tip number 5. Gather everything. Mine, herb, and skin everything. I know you've stared at those herb nodes on your minimap. I know you've walked by ore veins, and I know you've been too lazy to skin those mobs you've killed. Think about the gold you passed up from every node you've ever skipped. Ooh, don't want to level those alt professions though? Then don't. You'll just level passively by stopping to pick those roses. Tip number 4. Disenchant less than X gold BOEs. Now that you've been a good hero and made sure to loot everything, you'll have all these BOEs, but not all of them are worth trying to sell. Items like transmog are part of the luxury market, which means they won't sell immediately. You can pick your price point. I go with 1,000 gold. If a BOE is worth than 1,000 gold, I disenchant it. TSM is the add-on that can show you prices and tooltips. A link on how to use that is in the description below. Tip number 3. Auction house all the loot. So you've been picking every herb and disenchanting all that gear, it's time to sell it. In fact, sell everything. Cloth, BOEs, pets, old potions, and food, put it up on the auction house. Anything that might have a use, sell it. Even better, make this a daily thing. Have a special character stationed near an auction house and log into them once a day. Gather your gold and repost what's unsold. You don't have to be selling globs of the hottest item to make a little cash. Tip number 2. Don't vendor lockboxes. Each expansion has its own set of lockboxes. They usually contain some BOEs and a bit of gold. Don't vendor them. I used to be pretty bad about this until I made myself start mailing these to my rogue. And if you don't have a rogue, why not make one? They're pretty useful gold makers in their own ways. Tip number 1. Track fish. Fishing isn't just for classic. Fish of any expansion are used for professions like cooking and alchemy. Fishing pools are another type of gathering node that you don't want to skip. And it gets better. Did you know you can actually track fishing nodes like herbs and ore? The Weather-Beaten Journal teaches you this ability. First, make sure you have fishing. Then go look for pools of wreckage like this. These can appear in a large number of places, but my favorite spots are on the southern tip of Stranglethorn, along the shore of Blasted Lands, in the rivers and wetlands, and in the various lakes of Zangarmarsh. When you fish in wreckage, you have a chance of getting a box that will contain this item. Once you have it, just turn on the tracking like you would for other professions and voila! Happy fishing! Hi y'all, Kraken Latte here. In this video, we'll go over some more tips to help make some lazy gold. Like the other video, I'm not going over where to farm specific materials or telling you about the hot new thing. These are just some simple tips that can boost your income. Alright, let's get into it. Tip number 7. Self-sufficient professions. Self-sufficiency is a great way to save on some gold and even make some. Counting just the crafting ones, there are 8 major professions. You can have enough alts to cover all of them. Level them and collect recipes too. Then, just don't ever change them. Having every profession with all the recipes at your fingertips is handy and a great way to make some gold on demand. Tip number 6. Personal guild. Make your own guild to store your gold, materials, and other items. You can put your alts in this guild, especially the ones with crafting professions. You can use this as a sort of faction-wide bank for yourself, and with mobile banking being a thing, you can whip out crafting materials or utility items anytime you need them. Putting your banker tune in this personal guild makes auctioning even easier too. Tip number 5. Pick a server for your faction. Having all your alts of the same faction on the same server allows you to share gold and items amongst your alts, rather than having it spread out. This helps a ton when you're trying to save up for something big and want to use every copper. Servers are unlimited on characters now, so you can have all your alts on one realm if you really want. The auction house is also cross-faction, as a side note. Tip number 4. Favorite daily and weekly instances. Pick your favorite dungeon to do once a day. It doesn't have to be the best or done repeatedly, just your favorite. Maybe even do a different dungeon each day for fun. While inside, gather nodes you find, skin mobs, and loot everything. You'll get some BOEs, MOG, maybe even a pet or mount depending on where you are. The point is to get some fresh items, a bit of gold, and to have fun while doing it. This could spice up your day. And do a raid while you're at it. Pick a weekly instance that you don't know the tier sets from. Have fun with it. Tip number 3. Random vendors. While you're out traveling in the world, check the vendors, regardless of where you are. See a lonely vendor? Stop and say hello. Some of them sell BOEs you may not know, recipes that are unique, or even food or potions that have some sort of neat effect. Better yet, post this cool stuff on the auction house. Someone might want it, and it may be worth more than you realize. Tip number 2. Gold world quests. Doing world quests for gold may not be the most time-efficient activity, but it is raw gold. No auction house needed. This isn't just for BFA though. Legion world content is silly easy if you're 120, and some of these world quests still give 100 to 200 gold, specifically the ones on Argus. If you have all of Makari open, you'll have a lot of world quests unlocked. I've noticed the ones that give the most are the elite kill quests. Those mobs aren't so elite now that you're 120. Tip number 1. Up-smelting. I'm sure there's a proper name for this, like a form of flipping, but I call it up-smelting. This is buying cloth, ore, motes, etc., and turning them into bolts, bars, and whatever their combined form is. Not farming for this stuff, just using what's already on the auction house. It's super important to check prices first before you do this. You're dealing with profit margins here, which is different than selling outright. Make sure whatever you buy is cheaper than what you'll be selling. Include how many it takes to craft the larger item too. My example here are motes and spirits of harmony from Pandaria. The motes here are selling for 7G apiece. The spirits are at 60. That seems good, right? No. It takes 10 motes to make one spirit, so you'd be losing gold if you did this. Another example would be cobalt. The ore here is selling for 20 gold apiece, and the bars are 50. It takes 2 ore to make 1 bar. Hey, that's a profit. You get the idea. Just find items like this that give you profit you're okay with, and smelt away. Bonus tip. Rogue Haul Weekly. If you've got a Rogue 110 or higher, you should do this. In your class hall in Legion, pick up the quest to pickpocket coins of air. This quest is weekly and gives 1232 gold. It's super simple and will take less than 10 minutes. Granted, it isn't much, but it's fun and it's 1200 more gold than you had before. Okay, those are some simple, lazy tips to make some gold while you're out and about doing things. I like variety, and I hope this list spiced up your day. And there we have it. If you think I've missed information or you want to request I do a specific guide, let me know in the comments below. Even if I don't answer you, I just might add your idea to my list. As always, thank you so much for watching, and remember, it's never too latte. And there we have it. If you think I've missed information or you want to request I do a specific guide, let me know in the comments below. Even if I don't answer you, I just might add your idea to my list. As always, thank you so much for watching, and remember, it's never too latte.